You're listening to 101 with Tommie Zam. On the 51st episode, we sit down with Tess Elena talking about music and life. Let's do this. Hey, what's up, Tess? How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. And so you're out of where?
I'm based in New York City.
Oh, wow. What part of New York?
So I'm in Washington Heights, which is also the neighborhood that I grew up in. It's in Upper Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you like it there?
I love it. It's a very residential, quiet neighborhood. What's nice about it is we're right by the Hudson River, so we're like right on the water. We also have a lot of parks up here, and it's just like a really community vibe up here. It's really nice and calm and quiet. It's kind of a little bit removed from the hustle bustle of downtown, but it's really quick and close to get downtown, so it feels like you're having the best of both worlds living up here.
And how far are you from downtown?
So if I hop on the A or the 1, it takes me like 30 minutes to get downtown.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. Yeah.
And you don't drive that much at all out there, right?
No, not really. I can drive, but it's so annoying to find parking. It's such a pain in the butt to find parking in New York City, especially in our neighborhood. There's a ton of people who have cars because it's so easy to get out of New York in this area. But no, I don't drive. My mom does have a car, though. But she used to teach in Jersey, so that's why she would do that commute. But I personally do not have a car because it's way too much work. Plus, it's just easy to get around by train, you know?
That's true. Or bike, you know.
I could bike, yeah. Biking is a little crazy, but some people do it. Some people brave it. I will have you heard of Revels? They're these like motorbike rentals. Yeah, I will dabble in that sometimes, which is fun.
Is that from a late night from the clubs or something?
No, but I will take it across town because I feel like getting across town, the trains are and the buses are really slow, so it's fun to take those across town, which are fun.
Yeah, I'm an East Coaster. I'm actually from Florida myself,
cool.
From Florida, so I'm basically from the South.
Yeah.
And I never, my dad family and my dad are from New York and Jersey area.
Okay, cool.
And I never been to New York. I mean, the only time I've been to New York is flying from Florida to New York to South Africa. That was the only time I was in New York.
That's a crazy flight.
Yeah, and it was cool because I was all excited. I was like, cool, I get to actually hang out in New York for a little bit. Nah, I couldn't because I think we went in wintertime and it was cold as anything.
Oh yeah, the winter can be a little bleak here. It's actually the perfect time right now because spring is happening and it's when the entire city comes alive because we've all been hibernating and low-key depressed from the winter. And now the streets are just electric with energy because people are out, they're going to the park, they're going out to bars. It's just like really good energy in spring in New York. So if you come to New York, come in the spring, it'll feel very electric. It's awesome.
See, that's gonna be hard for me to leave San Diego.
I know you guys it's nice all the time there.
Well, I will say that people say that, but I mean, we have had a wet, cold winter, and our wet, cold winter is probably like 40 degrees.
Yeah, but is it raining a lot?
It rained a lot this winter, and our actual worst months are May gray and June blue, and then after that, it's like 70, 50 all year long.
Wow, damn. Yeah, I never thought you could have a rainy season there. That makes sense.
Oh, and it's very rare. I mean, it's very rare for us to have a rainy season. This year, it basically rained the whole entire winter, and it was like 40 degrees.
Yeah, honestly, we didn't get barely got any snow here. It was like raining the whole time here too. It was weird. I was like, where are we? It felt like a tropical climate, but who knows?
I felt like I was back in Florida. I was like, oh,
yeah, right. You're like, I left Florida for a reason. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. I mean, but we got a lot of snow out here. The mountains out here got a lot of snow. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. And there's been a drought in California, no? So that's been really good for the drought there. So that's good.
Yeah, well, they'll say by August they'll say we're in a drought again.
Yeah. So, oh, geez, doesn't last long.
I know. So what got you into music?
Oh wow, what got me into music? I think I've always been in love with music. Both my parents are musicians. My dad is a piano player and composer, and my mom was an actress and a singer, and they actually met doing a show together. So from a very young age, I was accompanying them to rehearsals, both for musicals and shows that my dad would be producing and putting together. And then my mom had a arts and action company where she would take us around to different schools and put on plays. for disenfranchised kids at schools. So I was immersed in it at a young age. And so I think I've always had a love for it. And I think in my heart, I always knew I wanted to pursue the arts in some form. But only I decided to pursue music heavily after returning. I used to teach English in Thailand, actually, for like a year and a half. And I came back to New York and I was like, I think I want to be a singer-songwriter. But I wasn't sure for sure because, you know, the arts it's a pretty unstable career path, as you might know. So I wasn't sure 100%, but you know what? I thought I just didn't want to be 80 and like regret not ever trying something, even though it might be really hard and crazy to chase your dream. I thought I'd rather give it a go and see how it goes. And I've always kind of fell in love with songwriting. I took a class in high school where I learned 4 chords and I just started songwriting with those 4 chords, and it became like therapy for me. So at that point, I think I kept it in like my bedroom, like a secret. And then I was like, you know what? I freaking love this. I think I might want to take this outside the bedroom. And I started going to open mics and meeting other musicians and putting myself out there with my songs. And I just fell in love with performing, and it just kind of snowballed into where we are today.
Dude, that's rad. And so, your mom was an actress. So you went to all was she like a Broadway movie star?
She did like a lot of plays when I was younger. She used to also work at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, which is like a acting conservatory in New York City. I actually think when I was in 5, I was in a couple of the plays that they put on at that acting conservatory. Yeah. She was like, we need the extra like kid in this scene. So they just put me and my brother in this scene wearing these like little 19th century outfits for some like play or whatever. So yeah, I've just been around it my whole life. My mom mainly did stage acting, but she also sang too. She used to go on the cruise ships and do all that kind of singing. So she did a lot of musical stuff. She kind of did it all. And then she did a couple acting gigs as well on some film sets. But yeah, she was like a jack of all trades in that way. But then when she had kids, she was like, oh, wow, we need a little bit more stability income coming in. And then it kind of changed the game, and she got into teaching, and she was a high school drama teacher for many years, and she just retired like last year. So.
Oh, that's rad, dude.
Yeah.
And to have that experience, you know, being around your mom and your dad too. We'll talk about your dad, being around your mom and learning all that stuff, and not saying like it's getting, you know, slammed into your head. You're like, oh, this is what I want. This is what you got to do. But it seems like your parents are very like, your mom was like very laid back. It's like, hey, why don't you do this? Or, hey, you can do this. You can do that. You know?
Yeah, no, totally. It's what's funny is that when I was younger, I was like, I'm not going to be like my parents. I'm not going to go into the arts, which is ironic because most parents are like, be a doctor, like be a lawyer or whatever. But they were supportive of whatever career path I wanted to take. But I was like, I'm going to be different. I'm going to go into politics or whatever it is that I wanted to be when I was younger. But I think deep down in my heart, I knew that I like loved it. But I was a little bit scared. I was a little scared for the lack of stability and financial security that could give to my life, you know? So I was a little apprehensive, but then once I started actually embracing it, I realized, oh shit, this is pretty amazing. I have to do it. I was like, I kind of have to do this.
You're like, oh man, damn it.
No, literally, I was like, oh shit. Well, the apple doesn't far fall from the tree, I guess, you know? You're like, damn. Once you love something, it's hard to not want to keep doing it, right? And I feel fortunate that I have that feeling about something, you know?
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. You know, I mean, to definitely, you know, to put your heart into something that you love to do,
Yes,
and do it instead of putting your heart into something you don't like to do, but you do it because society tells you to do it. You know?
yes. That's definitely part of it too, right? There's a societal pressure of taking a career path that feels safe, that you think will give you the reward of financial security or whatever it is. But yeah, the arts it's a tricky path. But I think what's amazing about our current age is that there's so many avenues with which to take it, especially for all art forms. So especially with social media and the internet, it's really expanded our reach of being able to do what we love, which is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And then your dad. So your dad
Yeah.
was a composer. So that was pretty rad.
Yeah. So my dad grew up in the church, and I think his father, who I never got to meet, but he passed when I wasn't born yet. But he also played piano, and then my dad grew up in the church and started to play piano as well. and he can write sheet music. I remember being really young, and he would be sitting at the piano handwriting sheet music. And as technology advanced, he then started learning a program of like composing on a computer and digitizing it. But he used to have like, oh my God, so many file cabinets full of sheet music that he hand wrote, which is probably dating him now, but that's what I grew up with at a young age. I saw a lot of, and he'd be up at crazy hours just writing music. He used to work in churches and write music for that. But he also worked with artists and definitely worked on and played for piano for certain musicals like around the city. And he'd do like annual shows at hotels in like Atlantic City and that kind of thing when I was younger. So yeah,
sounds like your parents. Sounds like your parents lived a free life.
They lived an extremely free life. Yeah, they both moved to New York at a young age to follow their dreams in the arts, and I seem to be following in their footsteps.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
And what does your brother do?
So my brother, he also is a creative mind as well. He is really into graphic design.
Okay.
He went to Pratt and got a graphic design degree there, and he has been still dabbling in some graphics, but currently is kind of deciding where he wants to go, if he wants to continue it. But yeah, he's also a creative mind too, and has designed many book covers and worked for a lot of sports companies. Actually, he's worked for the Yankees and NHL, and done a lot of graphics and sports graphics and stuff like that. So he's a digital artist.
So that's awesome. That's awesome that your parents, raised two kids as creative minds,
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think when for some reason, I've had this conversation with other friends. I'm like, why is it that people that have artistic parents, usually one of the kids ends up being in the arts themselves? It feels like something that really like gets passed down through like genes or something, which is a weird thing. But doesn't it feel like that when you find out like a lot of people that are famous in the arts, like you find out their parents were actors or their parents were artists, and you're like, I guess it just seems to, when you're around it, you feel more free to embrace it. Maybe that's part of it.
And then what kind of music did you grow up listening to?
Oh yeah, so I grew up listening to a lot of different styles. A lot of Motown. My mom loved Motown. She loved Marvin Gaye, which I'm obsessed with. I love Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder. Yeah, I grew up on like Joni Mitchell, Carole King. Who else? The Beatles I listened to a lot. Basically anything my parents would be playing in the car, I would be jamming out to for sure. But it definitely was in that arena of the 60s of the music that I was definitely raised on. So a lot of like soul, really good lyrics and song and melodies from that time period, I'm definitely influenced. So in a lot of my music, I feel like I draw inspiration from those artists. For sure Marvin Gaye, for sure Joni Mitchell, Carole King. Who else? Stevie Wonder. Yeah, the Beatles. Yeah, those were probably the top contenders, and a lot of Motown.
A lot of Motown. Yeah, Motown's good. I definitely love Marvin Gaye. I mean, Marvin Gaye is classic.
Such a classic. His voice is amazing too. It's just like his songs warm you, And my mom always had stories of like when she heard that song come out and like what she was doing at that time and So that was always fun to hear, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I mostly grew up. I grew up like with that, with like the 60s, the 50s, some of the 70s with my mom, and because my dad was gone, he was in the military and stuff, so he was gone in my life. So it was mostly my mom. So she was like a big Phil Collins fan. So
nice. Yeah, Phil Collins.
So I grew up listening to a lot of Phil Collins and the Genesis, and and like the old 60s and 70s and some of the 50s too. So I mean,
who from the 50s? I'm trying to think. I feel like
I don't even remember.
I know, right? I know my grandma loved Frank Sinatra. Like every time I saw my grandma, she was playing Frank Sinatra. She was obsessed with him. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he from Jersey? I don't know.
I think he might be from Jersey.
I think he is, right?
I could be. We both could be wrong.
We could be totally wrong, but yeah, my grandma was obsessed with her, so I definitely listened to her a bunch too.
Yeah, there's a lot, a lot of that good music,
For sure.
And one of there's actually, I was looking up this one song from Marvin Gaye. I can't think of the name of. I have the name in my head, but I can't think of the actual song. But
Is it What's Going On? I love that one. What's
That's
Going On? That one's so good.
That's a good one. And then the other one, What's a Man Want? Is that Marvin Gaye?
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about. Who is that by? What a Man Wants a Woman? That song?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Is that Marvin Gaye? It could be. I don't even know.
Yeah,
I think
it might be. It
it
might
might
be.
be. Yeah, that's a great song too.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good
amazing.
song. That's whoever sings that
A
song, that's a
classic.
great song.
Yeah. Yeah, whoever sings it. Yeah, that's a great one. That's an awesome song.
No,
It's great.
definitely.
It's
And
powerful.
so you said you went to Thailand. So what was
I
that like?
did. That was an awesome experience. Yeah, my road to music has not been like the smoothest road. It's kind of been like this thing I always did in my own like privacy.
Hmm.
And I in Thailand, I decided to move there because I was working at an office job. I actually worked at Planned Parenthood. Because my degree that I got in college was a women's gender and sexuality studies major, which
Okay.
means it's basically like a sociology degree with a concentration in like women's history. And I wanted to work at Planned Parenthood because I really wanted to help women. This is before I wanted to do anything with the arts. But I kind of was working at a desk job in front of a computer for like 8 hours a day. And I was like, I don't know if I really like this or if I'm meant to do this, just because it felt very stifling, even though I
Hmm.
love the message of the company I was working for. So I was like, what can I do where I'm going to travel? And I just went to Google and I saw teaching abroad and I was like, maybe I should do that. So I decided to go move to Thailand to teach English for a little bit, just because I knew I wanted to help people and I wanted to travel. Because at the time I got a job right out of college. So I was like, I don't know, 24 when I went over there. And I
Hmm.
was like, I just don't feel like at this age I should be sitting behind a desk. Like I want to be seeing the world. I have a huge thirst for travel and adventure. So I just went and did that and it was incredible. It was life-changing. That's why I talked about driving those Revels, because I used to own a motorbike over there. That was the way you
What?
would get around traveling there. Yeah. It's such a different life. I lived near the beach. I taught high school kids English and their grammar knowledge was better than ours ever was, because I don't know about you, but I did not learn a lot of grammar as a kid.
Oh, I didn't either, trust me.
Right? I'm like, did we learn any grammar? I don't remember that, but yeah, it was crazy. I used to teach myself the grammar before I would teach the students. It was
See, I
crazy.
thought about doing that, but I was thinking, I was like, man, if I did that, those kids would come back with a whole. I would teach them a whole different language. They'll be like, what?
They'd be like, "What? No, no." Teaching is such a rewarding job, but it is a lot of work. There's a lot of lesson planning that goes into it, because a lot of schools will give you textbooks, but they're not enriching in their lesson planning. So you kind of
Mhm.
have to like get creative about how you want to make kids engaged. But yeah, it was a huge learning process, but it was so rewarding. I met a lot of cool people out there and a lot of people that I know that still live there. But yeah, I decided to move back to New York because I wanted to pursue the arts, and I knew New York City would be a great place to get some training. So I was like, I guess I should go home and get on that.
Yeah.
So
And,
that's what I did.
and what was it like living out in Thailand? I know you said you
Yeah,
lived by the beach, you
yeah,
rode a
yeah.
motorcycle and all
You
that, but what
know,
was it like living there?
it's so different than America. New York is a special breed. People in New York are very in your face, no nonsense, direct. Um, And in Thailand, it's a predominantly Buddhist country, which means that they're very much not about having public displays of affection. You do not ever see Thai people yelling at each other in public. It's like way more private of a culture. And coming from New York, where everyone is loud, and like, I'm walking here, like that's kind of a stereotype, but like that
Wait,
does
how'd it go
happen
again?
here. I'm walking here, you know what I mean? I feel like people think that's what New York is like. And in many ways, it kind of is. Like, you will see people getting mad at cars for trying to turn too quickly. But people from New York are extremely kind inside, but a little rough on the exterior. That's what I like to describe New Yorkers as. Like, they will help you in a crisis for sure, but they will mind their business walking by you as well.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah,
That's
no,
it.
it's just totally different than Thailand, which is so that was a really cool experience because in America, it's not a predominantly Buddhist country. So just some of the culture around a Buddhist country was really like enriching and cool just to be in such a different space than New York was. And everyone there is so kind and hospitable and generous and kind. And so it's such a beautiful country and the people are so wonderful. And yeah, it's an amazing experience. So if you're ever thinking about it, you should definitely give it a whirl. It's worth to do for a little bit, I swear.
And what was your favorite thing? What was your favorite thing to eat out there?
Ooh, my God, that's a good one. I was obsessed with, which you can find in New York, Penang curry. It's so good.
What's that?
Um, it's like this, it's a coconut with a little bit of spice broth
Mm.
curry, and you can get it with chicken or vegetables, but it usually comes with like string beans, and there's a little spice to it. Everyone in Thailand has spice tolerance that is like godly. It's crazy. I used to see babies eat actual whole chilies all
Are
the
you
time.
serious?
I swear to God. That's why their tolerance for spice is crazy. I used to cry eating the staff like lunch meat food from the lunchroom because it was so spicy, and they would just laugh at me because they're like, this white girl can't take the spice, and I was like, you're right, I can't. They truly, their spice tolerance is out of control. It's crazy.
And what's the most memorable thing about Thailand to you that will always
Hmm.
stand out to you that you'll always remember Thailand as?
Well, that's a great question. I think I'll always remember just like one, the beaches. The beaches are the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen in my life. They're like those like desktop saver pictures, those
Uh-huh.
ones that they have that like your screensaver will automatically come up and it'll be like a beautiful beach. Like that's what Thailand's beaches look like. They look like out of a movie. It's like ridiculously beautiful. The water's so clear. But then so it's a tie between the beaches and just like the calmness and respectful culture there that like is not so opposite of New York. Yeah,
Mm.
those are the two things I'll take with me probably for the rest of my life for sure.
That's actually pretty cool. I mean, I do know what you mean by the screensavers. I mean, especially
Right?
on, yeah, because I mean, I have a screensaver of mine.
You know
Mine's
what
the
I'm talking
ocean.
about, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
my,
That's
my,
what
my,
it looks like.
yeah, mine's a sea animal. So I mean, it's
Oh,
always it's
that's so
always different types of sea animals
hell
and this
yeah.
and that. And yeah, I know what you mean.
That's the best. That's the best. Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
I thought you were calling me out there a quick second. I was like, dang it.
You're like, remember the seat? No, no, no. I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's a rad experience to have
Dude, it really
at
is.
24 years old, getting out of
Yeah.
college, doing a desk job that you went to school for, or what
Yeah.
you went to school for to
Yeah,
do,
for
and
sure.
then just realizing, like, you know what, I want to go. I'm gonna go travel. I'm gonna go do something different, and
Definitely.
and to I call that what I call that. I call that fuck it.
Oh,
Like
100%. That
because
is
you're just like fuck it. I'm just gonna go enjoy my life. I'm gonna do me,
yep,
and I'm gonna figure everything out.
100%. No, that's for sure a philosophy that I will hold until the day I die. The fuck it mentality. I will adopt what you're saying and say that is for sure part of my identity. I feel like that's what makes me ballsy enough to pursue the arts. I mean, I just feel like life is too short to
Yeah.
not be seeing what you want to see and doing what you want to do. Like that's just I believe that wholeheartedly for
Oh
sure.
no, that's 100%, and that's what I did. I mean, that's what I did is when well, I graduated from high school, didn't go to college because I knew college wasn't for me,
Oh yeah.
and and then I was living the skateboard life, wanted to have that
Mhm.
skateboard career, whatever, and I was like, I think I was like 20 years old, and I was in Pensacola, Florida, and I was like, dude, I gotta get out of here. I want to go
Mm.
live my life. And what I did is saved up $1,000, bought a plane ticket, had a cousin that had lived in San Diego that
Oh yeah.
never met in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I
Wow.
just jumped on a plane with a backpack of clothes and just flew out here, and the rest is history.
I love it. And the thing is when you take a leap like that, like the universe will answer.
Hmm.
That's what I've realized like doing the artist path and going to Thailand, like things will work out when you like put yourself out there to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Like I
Oh,
believe that to be true.
oh,
And that's why it
100%.
worked out for you too because I just feel like when you like take a risk like that in life, like if you're keep yourself open, like the universe will answer. Like they
Hmm.
just will.
Yeah,
So it's awesome.
because I look at it as like it's a door. You know what I mean? The universe
Yes.
gives us two doors. Which door do you want to take? Are you going to take the door that you're already living and doing
Mhm. Yep.
every day, 9 to 5, 7 to
Yep.
8, whatever job hours
Yeah.
you're working, or do you want to
100%.
take this other door where you want to just say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go live my
100%.
life."
And you don't want to live in regret, as I feel like that's like life feels like it's long, but already, I mean, I just turned 30 and I'm like, oh my God, the last 3 years were
Well,
so
happy
fast.
birthday!
Thank you. Not that recently, but yeah, this year turning 30 feels like a big milestone, right? So I'm like, wow, life is moving fast. Like it really is. I'm like, damn, the last 3 years flew by. I mean, especially with COVID and everything, but still it felt like the last 3 years just went by so quick. And I'm like, damn, I'm glad that I'm like doing the things I want to do, like, because life moves fast. It
No,
does.
it does. It does. Sometimes you just kind of slow down life a little bit and just kind of
Hmm.
enjoy it.
Yep.
Because like you said, 3 years goes past, COVID happened, this happened, that
Yeah.
happened,
Yeah.
and everybody's life just goes, whoa, what happened?
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. It's crazy. It's
And and
wild.
s- and then you came back to Thailand, and
Yes.
that's when you decided I'm gonna do a whole new career change.
Yes, yes. Well, when I was living out there, I turned 25 and I had a quarter life crisis.
Oh, you did? Seriously?
I did. I was like, "Oh my god,
Tell me about this. I want to
I'm
hear about this.
25." Like I'm so dramatic. First of all, like I was an infant baby. Looking back on that idea, why did I feel that way? It was so dramatic and stupid. But I was like, "Oh my god, I just turned 25. That means like I'm a full adult now. Like I don't." That's literally what I thought. It was just so stupid. It was like if I don't like go and pursue the arts and whatever art I choose, like I'm gonna be so old and then I won't make it, and like then it will all be for nothing or whatever. I don't know. It just like lit a fire under my ass. And I was like, oh shit, well, I gotta go back to New York and like get training and like take guitar lessons and voice lessons because I never went to school for music, and just like take what I've been doing in my bedroom and like fucking do this thing. So I was just like, it just lit a fire into my ass. So that's why I came back to New York. I mean, it wasn't the moment I turned 25, but around 25 and a half, I came back to New York. And yeah, that's when I started I took like every art class you could think of. I did.
So
I
you're having
did.
a midlife crisis, like, all right,
Yes.
I'm
At
25
25.
years old. I'm not married. I have no kids. I got
Yeah.
to figure my career. I got
Yeah.
to get my whole thing going. If I'm going to
Yes.
do music,
Yes.
I have to do this.
100%. That's exactly what I thought.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. And when's your
I
birthday,
know.
by the way?
So my birthday is November 25th.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
Thanksgiving, right?
Yep,
Kind of.
yep. Every 7 years it's on Thanksgiving because it like
Oh,
rotates
wow.
the day. Yeah. Turkey baby, as my mom likes to call it.
So she calls it Turkey Day.
She's like, "You're a turkey baby." I'm like, "Thanks,
Oh, you're a turkey
mom."
baby.
Turkey baby. I'm like, "Thanks,
Oh,
mom."
okay. You're
I'm
like,
like,
thanks, mom. Thanks,
"Yeah,
calling.
thanks, mom." Yeah.
Makes me feel good about my life. Now I'm a
Yeah.
turkey.
No, literally. Yeah, I'm always with family on my birthday. That's normally how it goes. And I usually celebrate with friends like either the week after or the week before because everyone's with their family. So
Yeah.
that's
And
usually
do you
how it
have a big
goes.
family?
I have a pretty big family. My dad's side, well, he was one of 6 siblings, so there's definitely more family on that side. My mom's side's a little bit smaller. She only had one of 3 siblings, so it became just by extension, just a lot more family on my dad's side than my mom's. But it's decently sized. We're
Okay.
loud, so it gets pretty loud at our family
Well,
gatherings.
because you're what, Italian, right?
So my mom's side's Italian, yes, and
Okay.
my dad's side is German. So my mom's
Oh,
that
wow.
Mediterranean like fire, as you will, and then my dad's side is like the WASP German side. They all live in like Pennsylvania, rural Pennsylvania area. My mom grew up in Jersey, so
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's half Italian, half German.
So you got the full mix of all.
Oh yeah, I'm just a good old European mutt.
That's funny.
Right? I mean, honestly, why am I trying
No,
to
no,
sugarcoat
hey,
it?
no, that's true. I mean, I'm a Eastern European mutt too.
There
I
you go.
mean,
I'm like, we're all a blend of something, right? So,
exactly. We're all European somehow, some way.
uh, truly. So, yeah, for sure. That's what I am, for sure.
Yeah, I know my dad's a Russian Jew, and
Nice.
my mom was a Polish.
Okay, cool.
So
Nice.
so having that two mixtures
You got a
of
lot of Eastern European in you then.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I call myself a Jewlock.
A Jew-lock. That's funny.
People
That's
look at me
great.
when they're like, "What's a Jewlock?" I'm like, "I'm Jewish, Polish, half Polish, half a Polak and a Jew." What you
Nice.
get?
You just combine them together.
Yeah, what you get? You get a Jewlock,
That sounds like a superhero.
right?
It does. It's
Oh
good.
man, if I was good at art, I could definitely draw that.
Right? Like something on like I'm picturing a suit with that written in the middle, and you're just
And
like have a cape.
exactly, he throws knishes at you.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, exactly. That's
You're
perfect.
picturing that right now, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. That's I have a full image prepared in my mind for that.
And then he like shoots out muscle balls
Oh
and
God. That's actually hilarious. I'm surprised that hasn't been created yet.
and someone's
I'm sure
somebody,
somebody has, right?
oh, somebody's going to listen to me, or somebody is putting out in the universe. Somebody's going to steal it one day.
Damn it. Yeah, right? You got to patent everything.
I know these days you got to,
Can't keep up. It's too much to keep up with.
right? So, so,
Uh,
so singing in your
yes.
bedroom.
Singing in my
That's
bedroom.
what I want to go to. Singing in your
Yes.
bedroom. That's
Yep.
pretty interesting.
Yep. Yeah, I was nervous about it for so long. I think I just saw, well, first I only learned 4 chords on guitar, right? Since I
Hmm.
didn't go to school for it, but I used every variation of those chords, and I just saw it as like very therapeutic for me to just, I always had melodies in my head, and so it just became a way for me to like get those melodies out with that guitar. So I have like voice notes from years ago that are just such crap of me playing guitar super badly and like singing over them or whatever, and I just like kept doing it, and I never like took it seriously and took lessons until I came back from Thailand, and that's when my skills started to improve tremendously. I took like songwriting classes and all that, but it definitely was a thing that started out as a very much therapy for me, as a way to like
Really?
almost like how people keep journals and they write in their journals. I would
Hmm.
say that was like an equivalent where I would be writing about if I was stressed about something, about any family issues or relationship issues or whatever it is, all the growing pains that we experience in our youth where we're just trying to figure out life. So it definitely was a way for me to just get through stuff in my bedroom, basically.
Hmm. And when did you pick up a guitar? How old were you when you picked up a guitar? Like,
So how old are you? Your senior year of high school. I was 18. I
hmm.
was 18 when I
Okay.
first took like a class in regards to music. It was
Okay.
like a music class in my high school. I forget if it was songwriting or guitar or what it was, but that's where I learned the 4 chords. And that's when the songwriting started because the teacher asked us to write a song for class. So that's where it kind of all started. And my mom had an old guitar from like the 70s. So I was just using that for a while. So yeah, that was like kind of the start of it. Although I did take a few piano lessons back in the day because my
Hmm.
dad was like, "You should take piano lessons," and so like I did. But I was so lazy about practicing. I was never committed to it, and I would just memorize all the pieces I would learn. And my teacher always knew that I was just like bullshitting through it. And so I only did that when I was like 10 for like I don't know a couple months. So it didn't really stick. Um, and then only with guitar, I don't know. I think I've always kind of loved the way the guitar sounds. I just think the acoustic guitar is so beautiful.
Hmm.
And so I think it just pairs really well with songwriting. So that's kind of how it evolved.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I can't. I mean, the only thing I can play is keyboard. I think
Nice.
my mom, when I was young, my mom had me. I want to say, I don't know what old I was, but I want to say high school maybe, or middle school. No, high
Cool.
school, and had me do keyboard lessons, and I did it for a while. And the only
Nice.
song I learned how to play, and I remember how I can still play, is that Sinead O'Connor song.
Oh yeah, which one?
The most famous one I can't think of right
Oh
now.
God. I
Uh,
recognize the name and I'm trying to remember too, and I can't remember now either.
it's the song that's everybody knows, that
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
from
That's
our
awesome
generation
though.
that knows. But that's the only song I know. I can play, but she, the teacher teach me like 50,000 things, but I couldn't even
You're
remember
like,
all
yeah,
of
it's
it.
not sticking. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not gonna.
I regret it now. I'm like, damn, I should have stuck with that because now it feels like, I'm playing with musicians that have been doing this since they're like 5. And I'm like, oh, I've been doing it like seriously for like, I don't know, almost 5 years now for sure. But before that, a lot of these people have been playing that I know since they're like really young. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to catch up. But I'm
Mhm.
like, you know what? I don't regret the path I've been on. I've had amazing experiences to get me here today. So I don't regret
No,
it all for
no,
sure.
you definitely did. I mean, like you traveled to Thailand and
Yeah.
teaching kids, and
Yeah.
eating pad thai curry or whatever that curry
Yeah,
was, and
yeah, yeah.
and like
Exactly.
working in parenthood, and
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
doing that. So I mean, you learned a lot in
Oh
life,
my
and that
God, for sure. So much life experience.
for,
Yeah,
for
I feel
almost
like
being 30, you have accomplished a lot in life that most people have not accomplished yet.
It's true. Yeah, no, when I think about it like that, I'm like, yeah, I guess I have done a lot of stuff. You forget sometimes what you do until you like list it out.
But playing guitar in your bedroom singing, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still stuck on that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to visual this, like you just
Yeah.
and then the guitar just ding 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 ding,
Yeah.
la, 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 ding ding ding, you
No,
know?
literally, that's exactly what it was. I think I don't know, I fell in love with it. And I think I didn't expect it too, because it kind of snuck up on me, right? When I first moved back from Thailand, I was taking acting classes, I took improv classes, I took a couple of music private lessons just to like feel out the vibes of everything.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I think I just like soon realized like I didn't really love improv that much. It was really fun just to like goof around and stuff, but I don't know if I wanted it to be my career. I did really enjoy my acting classes, but I don't know. I think I just realized I had a knack for songwriting because I could chug out so many songs so quickly. And it just, I don't know, it felt the most fitting at that moment. And who knows, maybe I'll get into acting one day, but like my
Yeah.
mom did. But for now, I feel like the songwriting thing is definitely my gift.
Did you do
For
any
sure.
shower singing?
Oh, definitely shower
You
singing.
did?
Of course. Of course. That's a rite of passage. I mean, everyone does shower singing, right?
I don't. I don't
No?
shower sing. No, no.
No. But
I
there's
never
great
tried, never tried.
acoustics.
I never
You should
tried.
try it. The acoustics in the bathroom will make you sound great.
And then when yeah, they say that, and then when you go out and do karaoke, you're like, "Oh,
You're like,
no."
"Oh, no, this is not working."
Did you do karaoke before or after you did all this stuff or what?
It's so funny. Once you like take something that you're like passionate about and you're like, I'm gonna make this a career and make money off of this, it's like it changes your perception around it. And like definitely I've done karaoke before. And like now that I do karaoke now, I'm just like, oh my God, like, do I have to take this more seriously? This is such a weird, like added element of pressure. But I feel like karaoke is just for shits and gigs. Like it's just supposed to be for fun. So I've definitely done it as well as the shower singing. But it's weird how when you try to like monetize an art form, how it makes you like constantly see it in such a different light than it used to be, because before it was just me playing in my bedroom for just me. And now I'm like, okay, I'm sharing this with the world and I'm trying to make a career out of this. And who's going to be listening? And how can I monetize this? And how could this be good for content and videos and da da da? So it's just a weird transition of your brain to go from that. But it's important to like maintain that like original love for it, right? Because that's
Yeah.
what the creativity is. But when you make something into a career, it like changes it a little bit. So it's a weird balance to maintain for sure.
No, it definitely is 100%. And like, did you do like while you're singing and practicing in your
Yeah.
room and all that, did you do like live Instagram or live streaming, or did you have your friends watch you and stuff like that so you can get practice?
Yeah, no, I definitely when I first did my first couple shows, I think I had like some friends over and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do my set for you. And you tell me what you think. Like be
No
brutal,
way,
be
really?
honest. I did. I was shitting it. I was so nervous. Because when you're like in an intimate space, it's almost more intimidating in like a living room to be like showing your music to your friends, like being really vulnerable. Because my friends, when I first started doing this, had no idea that I was doing this because I was kind of private about it. Like I really
Mhm.
wasn't showing lots of people. And then when I came over to town, I was like, all right, well, I'm a singer-songwriter now. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah.
Are they touching are they testing your temperature, make sure you're not
No,
drunk
yeah.
or
I
anything?
mean, I guess they weren't that shocked knowing that my parents are both artists, but at the same time, they were like, "Oh, okay." Like, I think they knew that I did it a little bit in my bedroom, and like the roommates I had in college at the years, they definitely heard me, like singing in my bedroom. And I actually dated a guy in college that like gifted me my first like microphone to record with, which was really
Really?
sweet to like I mean, not that I was at that time really diving into recording on like any DAW or music recording platform at the time. I kind of was just like, oh, that's so sweet. And I just like didn't like really because I was intimidated with like recording music at the time. Now it's a much different space that I'm in, but like it definitely shocked some people around me a little bit. And then I started doing open mics, and that's when I started meeting other people that were like-minded in that world and like wanted to do music too and that kind of thing. But I also just saw from reactions of the audiences when I would play my songs that people would be like come up to me like that's a great song, and I was like, oh, maybe this is something I am good at, you know, because you don't know until you start sharing your things,
Yeah.
like if it actually is good, you know? So that's when I started realizing, getting feedback from people that it was working, you
But
know?
were your friends giving you the honest truth, or were they doing the, "Oh, you're great. Yes, Tess, you're awesome.
Oh
Love it."
God. You know, when I first started doing shows, I think I was really nervous between I didn't know what to say between the songs because there's
Uh-huh.
a little bit of a natural banter that
Real
like,
quick, real
yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
You mean shows, you mean in your bedroom, or you mean the actual on a stage?
I mean, on a stage, you know, like
Okay,
have
okay,
you been,
okay.
you've seen artists perform. Sometimes they don't even speak at all between the songs.
Mhm.
Um, but when I was first starting out, I was like, nobody knows who I am. Like I should be introducing myself, talking about my music. So my friends were kind of shitting on like what I was saying in between the songs. They're like, you're being real awkward, you're talking too much, or like whatever I was doing. I was being like word vomiting, you know? So they were like, you gotta reel that in a little bit, which I did. And it's taken some like a lot of practice to figure out exactly what to say and how to build that rapport with the audience and draw people in without like killing them with a lot of words, you know, because you don't want to like talk too much. So it's really a delicate dance that I feel like I've nearly mastered now, but it took me many times getting up on stage in front of people to get over that nervous like talk, you know,
Yeah,
because it can be nerve-wracking to get up in front of people,
trust me,
especially, you
I know.
know, like it's a nerve-wracking thing. But just like
Um,
anything with nerves, the more you do it, the more you practice, like it actually gets a little bit easier, but you're still always going to be a little nervous,
oh, no, trust me, I know that, 'cause, I
you
mean,
know?
I've been doing my other show for 6 years, and I'm still nervous in front of cameras.
Yeah. You know what? It'll never go away. And that's what's so crazy. And I would imagine like the people that are selling out Madison Square Garden, like even though they've done a million shows, like 100%, there's a little bit of nerves in them right before they go on. And for me,
Yeah.
every time I get on stage, it's that first song that I'm always nervous for. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. I can do this. And then I like relax and then I can do the rest of the set. But every show I'm like that. I'm nervous for the first song. So I think it's just you get used to being nervous, right?
Yeah, yeah, you definitely do. And do you remember your very first show?
Mm.
Like, take us back to that day of your first show.
Yeah, my first show. That was in, what year was that? Oh boy. So I came home from Thailand, I think in 2018. So I think it was early in 2018. And that was like right when people were like, oh, you're trying to be an artist now? Like, we'll come out and see your show. Let's see like what you doing. Because no one, like I said, everyone was like, what? And since I grew up in New York City, I returned to New York City. I had kids from like high school and like growing up in New York that like people like came out just because they were curious.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I just went up there with me and my guitar. And I think it went okay. But I was for sure nervous. Um, yeah, but I had a great time and a bunch of people came out and like it's just like every other show. I was even more nervous for that one. Probably like half of the set, I was for sure crazy nervous. And then by the end, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't horrible. This is kind of fun. And
Yeah.
then it kind of melted away the nerves. But yeah, I was for sure shitting it for sure.
Were
So nervous.
your hands sweating
Oh my
and
God,
everything?
hands sweating. My fingers were like nervously like twitching. And
Oh,
holding a guitar,
no.
you cannot, that doesn't
Twitch.
work with that well. You need your fingers to be calm.
You're like this, "Oh, did I put deodorant on? And my hair looks
Oh,
good?"
100%. All of the nerves. And it's so crazy to think back to that. I was like, I was so nervous. Oh my God, so nervous.
Did you forget any lyrics or anything,
Oh,
or
for
miss a
sure.
word?
I'm sure I forgot a lyric. And I probably made up a lyric
Oh, you
to
did?
because oh, for sure. Because I was so nervous that I forgot lyrics, then I just made up something or whatever it is. So nervous. But you know what I realized? That's how I knew that I was growing and pushing myself, right? Because when you're nervous, that means that you're like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And that to me, I think is the definition of growing. And that's how I knew that I really gave a shit because I was like, wait a minute. Like I never really got that nervous public speaking in like school or whatever, but I also didn't really care about whatever I was doing with that, like on a
Mhm.
deep level. But for my music, since it's such a vulnerable act to like show your soul, which for me, my songs feel like my soul, to show your soul so vulnerably in front of people is nerve wracking. At least for me, I have a hard time feeling vulnerable with people. So I I knew that I was pushing myself in a good way. So I knew those nerves were like a really good thing for me, and a direction that I wanted to keep pushing myself, because it meant I was growing, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm always trying to grow and get better. That's like something I want to do with my life for sure.
Oh, and that you're obviously true. I mean, being nervous is like a good way to help you and realize, like, wow, man, I am stepping out of my comfort zone. I am stepping
Yeah.
out into the real world, and people are going to see me, either going to love me or hate me, or I don't even
Yep.
know which one they're going to do. You know?
100%. Yeah, no, but it's important to like have moments like that in your life, because if you feel like, and that's what I realized, like every other job I had up until that point wasn't pushing me in that way, because I
Hmm.
wasn't nervous in that way. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty remarkable to feel that level of nervousness, because other things make other people nervous too, right? But I don't know. It just really showed me that I was doing the right thing.
Yeah. And how do you write your music? Do you write your music from life experience or other
Oh,
people's
yeah.
life experiences? Like, take us to how you write your music.
Yeah, so it really depends on the song, right? I think in the beginning, it was definitely a stream of consciousness type of lyric writing. But now, after I've taken a few songwriting classes, I've learned that there's so many ways to write songs that like are important to like exercising the muscle. And like something that I learned so valuably from one of my classes was that it's important throughout the day. Like if you see like a odd pairing of words together, like in an advertisement on the subway, or like in a conversation, or a concept or a metaphor that you hear throughout the day, it's good to just jot it down, because it could be used for a song later, if like later in the day that you might want to write. But
Mhm.
a lot of my songs have been through personal experience. A lot of my lyrics are kind of written from this like storytelling type of way, which most of my songs end up being like that. I really like imagery, metaphors in my lyrics. But yeah, most of them are all about personal experience. But there have been some songs that I've written that I try to comment on like societal issues or things that we all might experience. And they're not as directly closely related to my personal experience, but I know other people that have gone through things that are similar. And I found them something that we could all relate to in a song form.
And,
So yeah.
I can't write music, so I don't even know.
You really could. Have you ever written a poem before?
Yeah, I've written a poem before.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's not too far off.
no, I've written a poem before, and it got nominated and all
Oh
that
my
stuff.
God. Okay. What? You're acting like you're not an artist out here. That's
No, I
amazing.
ain't an artist.
Writing poetry is fully like, could be considered lyrics.
Yeah, I try to write poem here and there, but then I just read it and I'm like, I don't like it. I'm throwing it away.
Ah! Oh, I know, dude. Yeah, it's good to be a critic of your own work, but it can't be too much of a critic. Then you never
Oh,
create anything, right?
I'm a huge critic of my
Huge
own work.
critic? No, no, I
Yeah.
am too. That's something that I'm definitely trying to work on, is being more gentle with myself, because it's so hard to be like nice to yourself with everything that you do artistically, you know?
No,
It's a
no,
tough road.
it is, but I've been better at it. I've been really better at it. You
That's
know.
good. Yeah. Cause it doesn't get you anywhere too, you know? When you're like, this is shit, this is shit. It's like, okay, well now I'm nowhere. So I have to be like giving myself a little grace
Yeah,
to
and
try, right? Because we all suck at something in the beginning.
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. No, it's true. Definitely true. And
100%.
how do you compare your music? Is it like
Yeah.
pop? Is it hard
Yeah.
rock? Is it classical? Like
Yeah.
what's your music like? So that
So, yeah,
other
yeah.
people know what it is.
For sure. So my EP Firescape, it definitely is a compilation of a bunch of genres. As we've talked about, I'm heavily influenced by some artists from the 60s. So I would say my sound is like indie folk, jazz pop. If I could blend all of those together, I feel like I'm influenced by folk, I'm influenced a little bit by soul. And so you're going to see elements in my music from like funky 60s vibes to like contemporary pop, mixed with an indie artist, right? Because I'm a singer songwriter at heart. So it's all under the umbrella of singer songwriter for sure. And the more I write music, the more it'll be a tapestry of genres that I'm influenced by, because I'm ever changing and ever growing. And I feel like to put it all in one box is kind of hard. That's why I like to draw like four genres of music to sort of like pave the way of this path that I'm currently on. But
Mhm.
it's definitely a blend of those genres for sure. Under the umbrella of singer-songwriter, right? So it's storytelling, through the lens of just an acoustic guitar playing singer-songwriter, you know?
Yeah. And to your EP, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great, congratulations on that. I
Thank
mean,
you.
it
Thank
dropped
you.
like what, April 8th?
Yeah, I had my EP release show on April 8th and it released on April 6th. So it's been out for a couple weeks now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you tell the people what the name of the
Yeah.
EP is?
So my EP is called Firescape. It's the title track of the 4th song on the EP, Firescape. It's kind of an ode to my childhood since I grew up in New York City. I started I would play on my fire escape, which is as silly as that might sound because I didn't have a backyard. So I would be out on the fire escape as a kid playing games. I'd have play dates out there sometimes. And I would, as I grew, and I mentioned I took that songwriting class in high school, I would bring out my mom's guitar out to the fire escape and I would songwrite out there too. So it became this like safe space for me for my creativity. And I thought that was a good metaphor for my first EP, right? Since this is my first album that I'm releasing as a body of work, it felt like I was paying homage to my childhood fire escape, as well as just the direction of the music that I want to be writing. So it's 4 songs, and they're all kind of a compilation of like what I would describe as the full human experience of what it means to be a woman today. It talks about coming of age and sexuality and heartbreak and love and just the full tapestry of what it means to be a woman. So it's called Firescape. It's been out for a couple weeks, and excitingly, this Thursday, which is already Tuesday, so in 2 days, I have the Firescape music video coming out. So
Really?
That's pretty exciting too. Yeah. Which is, of course, takes place on my fire escape. And I went over to my mom's and I recorded on it. All my neighbors were probably just like, what is this crazy girl doing?
Were you dancing on it? Were you dancing on
Oh,
a fire escape?
100%. I was dancing,
I can't
moving
wait
around.
to see this.
It's like a very it's just paying homage to growing up in New York City, and falling in love with your fire escape and it becoming your like peace and tranquility. But yeah, it's funny. Only imagining what my neighbors. I mean, my neighbors always saw me out there probably when I was younger. But if it's still the same neighbors, then they're probably just like, "What is she doing?"
They probably took pictures of you on Instagram. Like, look
Oh
at this.
God,
What's she doing?
100%. Do you know that Instagram page? There's one where it's like, "What is New York?" I think, and people will literally film other people in New York doing weird projects.
Are you serious?
Oh, 100%. It's so funny, and I'm like, I wonder if that happened to me. But
have you seen yourself on there yet?
No, that'd be sick if I did. No, but people like will film people like on rooftops, and they're like, we'll be filming some funny video or whatever. Yeah, it's absurd. But yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah,
but one of the songs that I liked, me personally, I liked was actually the Subway DMs.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
And what I got from that song, it was basically, it was a man or a woman getting DMs on the subway, or sitting next to a cute guy or a hot woman,
100%.
And you build a relationship, and then once the train stops, and then the guy or the girl leaving, they're like, hey, here's my Instagram, DM me. That's what I got from that song.
100%.
And I like that song. That's not a good song. But what's your take on that? Why did you write that song?
Honestly, I, at the time, was in that phase where I was like, okay, I'm going to try to take any lived experience I have and make this into a song.
Hold on, wait. You had a Subway DM experience?
Oh, this is based on a true story.
No way. Okay, I'm going to hear this.
So I was taking the train home. It's literally could not be more accurate of the story. And I saw a really cute guy across the way, and we were like looking at each other. And I was like, I think we're like, when you're looking at someone and you're making eyes at each other, it's not just like, oh, we're just like kind of looking in the same direction, but you're like, oh no, we're looking at each other. And we like actually he came over and we started talking, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. Whatever. He's really cute. And I'm thinking it's going to go somewhere.
You're already visualizing flowers.
Yeah. I'm like, this is such a New York thing. Oh my God. Seeing somebody cute on the subway. This is crazy.
Is this a movie?
I felt like this is like a movie at the beginning of a rom-com or something. We get off the train, and I think he went to I transferred to another train, and I was like, oh, like, it was really great to meet you. And he's like, yeah, you too. Okay, bye. And I was like, what? He didn't take a step further to be like clearly which we were chatting or whatever. Like he was like, okay, bye. Like he didn't ask for my number, didn't ask for any information.
What?
And I was like, went home and I was like, damn, like I should have asked for something. But it happened so quickly that it was just because he was rushing to the other train and I was like, oh, okay. Bye.
That's all you did? You didn't chase after him? You didn't say,
No,
hey, why
I
didn't
pussied
you?
out. I pussied out. I
That could have been
know.
the guy.
I could have been. No, it was so. This was like a couple years ago too. But then I went home and I was like, oh my god, this could be a song. And I literally just went home and that song started as me just snapping. And I wrote the whole song out in one sitting, which is kind of rare for me to write it all in one sitting. But it was just so easy to recall the story, right? Because it literally just happened. And I just wrote it out all in one sitting. I was snapping. And then I went to my band and we like talked about it. And then we kind of came up with that concept and that groove. And then that's how it came to be.
So
But yeah, that was based on a true story.
So have you been on the subway hoping to see that guy?
No.
Yeah.
That was no.
Yes. That's the truth sometimes.
I mean, after I wrote that, 100% for sure. I was like, maybe I'll see him. Maybe I'll see him on this train. Like, you know? But there's so many people in New York, you know? You
never know what. Hey, we put it out there in the universe. We put it out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what you should do is just play that song every time you go on the subway. Just have it playing. And that way he hears it. And he's like,
no.
And he'll come up to you and say, Tess, is that me? Did you write that song about me? That is amazing.
I did. Yeah, no, it's fine. No, I'm happily in a relationship now, but this was a couple of years ago. But yeah, no, imagine if I saw him. That'd be crazy.
Your mouth would drop and be like this.
Oh my God, I would be shocked. I don't even know what I would do.
And they'd be like, hey, by the way, I forgot to give you my DM.
Yeah, right? It's so funny to think that like now I'm on the stage singing that song about this random guy and like I'll never see him again. But that's what's awesome about songwriting is that like every experience can like be a song if you make it into one, you know?
And another song that I like was Heart Attack.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Tell me about that one.
That one was a labor of love to write. That took many drafts, many rewrites of the lyrics, because sometimes when you write a song about heartbreak, I mean, it's been done before, right? There's been many songs written about heartbreak. And I wanted to write something that would feel a little bit of a unique spin on the song, on the concept, both lyrically and melodically. And yeah, it was about the first love I ever had, which of course, you know, when you're young and you have your first love, it feels so dramatic and deep and like, you'll never love again, you know, like it's so great that like looking back, I'm like, wow, that was not that it was silly, but like those feelings, I'm like, they were just so intense because it was your first, right? So yeah. It's a fun one to sing as it brings me back a little bit, but yeah, that one's a fun one for me for sure.
Yeah, I remember my first love, man. It was
right.
Yeah,
we all can remember our first loves.
Yeah, I was young. I think it was like summer of 1975. No, I'm joking.
No,
no, it wasn't 1975. I was born 1975, but no, it was like summer of like my summer, my 7th or 8th grade.
Oh, yeah, that's young.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I met her through a friend that I was, you know, we're young. We're talking
for sure.
Girls and you're talking different guys and whatever, you know, and like, but the funny thing is me and her, I was talking to her friend and then I got introduced to her friend, but we never met. We always talked over a phone.
Oh,
we would talk over the phone every night, every day, all the time.
Oh,
and we would just all talk. We just talk. It was love phone, I guess.
Yes.
And so we would talk, and then one time I think she lived in another town that was like 30 minutes away. Or 20 minutes away, and so we made a time where she could make to the mall,
right?
At the mall, and then somehow we didn't end up meeting at the mall. And that time there was no cell phones because you couldn't get hold of anybody, you know.
Yeah. Oh
so, but we still talked, and then one day, I think it was the end of the summer, she was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Ohio."
Oh no!
I was like, "All right, cool," and then you know,
all right, cool.
Well, yeah, and then
what
I was bummed about it, but she called, but we talked the last right before she drove away, you know. So
oh my god!
And the craziest thing is, I didn't hear from her for a long time, and then I get a letter from her.
No way.
Yeah, and then we got in contact again.
Oh my God.
And
Wait, have things
then,
rekindled? This seems like
no,
romance.
I'm single. I'm single.
Oh, it
I'm
didn't
still
work.
single. But no, but no, but no, yeah, we talked, and then all of a sudden we just grew apart. Never
Yeah.
talked to each other again. So that was
Oh.
actually my first true love, I could say.
Yeah. Especially like you really got
But we
to
never
know her
met.
as a
That's the funniest
person.
part,
That's so crazy.
right?
That is wild. But it can
Yeah,
happen. Hey.
yeah.
Phone calls, deep conversations happen on phone calls, real vulnerable stuff.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they
I'm
do.
dead. Oh my God. That's hilarious.
No, but so one of the questions I want to ask you
Yeah.
is how do you like women in the music world? Do you feel
Yes.
that like it's very tough for women to grow in this industry, or you think it's more easier?
Mm. That's a good question. I mean, I think something that I've noticed is that, at least in New York City, is that I feel like it's a very male dominated profession, musicians, that is. I do feel like I know a decent amount of female singer songwriters, but I do find that a lot of the musicians I play with are men, and that I feel like it's hard to find a lot of female producers and audio engineers. So it does feel like the majority of the people that I work with in the industry are men,
Hmm.
um, which more power to them. But it would be nice if there was more variety of women within the industry. I think that as a woman, it can feel like you're climbing a ladder a little bit at times. Um, and it just would be nice if we had more diversity within New York City, at least that's the music scene that I'm in, where I'm able to meet a lot more female bass players and drummers. And I know they're out there, and I'd love to have like an all female band. That'd be sick. But
That'd
my
be
band
awesome.
is that'd be so sick, right? But I also do know that because I didn't go to school for music, that my scope and like network of musicians isn't as wide as those that did. Because a lot of people have a similar track of either they go to Berkeley or some music school in New York City, and then they know a lot of musicians from that. And I'm sure that would increase my range. So I've had to find a lot of my musicians from going to open jams and open mics, which is a totally effective way as well. But I do find that it does feel like I'm sometimes the only woman in the room. And it would just be nice to feel like it's more evenly divided for sure
So,
between
so
in the professions, you know?
yeah. So you're saying that New York is more guy man music way. You know what I mean?
Kind of, yeah. I feel like I haven't met a lot of like female audio engineers like at all,
Mhm.
actually, zero. Now I've followed some on Instagram that like are quite popular, and like getting to work with them is a lot harder because a lot of them are signed to record deals or music publication places. Um, but yeah, it seems like though, and there's a broad spectrum of it, is that it's a very male dominated field in the audio engineering world. So it'd be nice if that was more diverse, because I obviously, with my history and my background with my degree, I'm all about empowering women. So it'd be nice to see more diversity for sure. And yeah, I think that as women, we face some extra pressure, maybe to look a certain way or be a certain weight or look young. And that's just like across all spectrum of the arts in America, especially. I think
Yeah.
women have pressure to like look young and look a certain way. And social media has definitely not helped that. I think that there's like a lot of like trends with like those filters and all these things that like give pressure to like look certain way physically and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, I think we do live in a bit of a patriarchy, so it's constantly a bit of a struggle. But just like everyone else in every other profession, you just have to work hard and break down those barriers. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And do you feel like if you ever come to like LA or out this way, you think you'd be more accepted as a woman singer more than in New York?
Um, I think I'm like accepted as a woman singer here. I just think it's like when I go out and meet musicians, I feel like 95% of them are men. And
Hmm.
I'm finding that I don't find a lot of like female musicians that aren't singers. I feel like a lot of them end up being singers or
Hmm.
songwriters, and then I'm not finding a plethora of them that just like play instruments. Um, and I know they're out there. I just, at least that's my from personal experience. But I don't know how it'd be in LA. I'm sure it'd be similar. But I know there's a lot of songwriters out there as well as musicians. It's just like a matter of finding them and building those connections, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot. Everybody comes out here.
I bet. Yeah. I bet. Yeah. I guess there's the nice weather too, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, nice weather. I mean, and, the two big industries or three big industries is Miami, New York,
Yeah.
and LA. So those three are like the biggest for all types of industry, music, acting,
Oh, for sure.
whatever,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you could definitely, Chicago's up there. Chicago's getting up there too.
Yeah. I've heard Nashville. I mean,
Yeah.
Nashville obviously has their own industry, and a little bit of Austin, Texas now too. It's
Oh,
like
Austin's like a
developing.
mini, they say Austin's like a mini New York City.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've never been to Austin, Texas. I've never been to Texas, but I've heard really cool things.
Yeah,
So I definitely
I
want to go
never.
check it out.
Yeah, I've never been there either, but I mean, I saw this. This. I went to see this my buddy's band, um, Big Gig,
Mhm.
and they're performing with this girl from Austin, and she was amazing. I was just like, whoa, I never heard of this person before.
Amazing. Yeah, there's
and,
so much talent. It's crazy.
and she had like, dude, I don't know all the good type of guitars she had, but she had like a double guitar bass or double
Oh,
guitar
wow,
thing
that's sick.
and like five different guitars all laid out that each one that she's gonna play. And I was just like, what, dude? This girl kills it, dude.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
You
so
know,
sick.
but yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect, for all types, music,
For
women,
sure.
guys, whatever, because to me, I'm not a musician myself, and I have a lot of respect for musicians and to go out there and sing in front of millions of people or, put out a record label and do this and do that. It takes a lot,
Totally.
you
Yeah.
know, a lot of respect for that, and I wish one day, I wish I had grew up with that talent because, hey man, I'll be up there with you guys.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
But okay, so where can people find your EP?
Yeah.
Do you have a website? Do you have a social
Yeah.
platform,
So I'm in
Spotify,
the
whatever?
midst of making my website now, but I have on my Instagram, I have in my bio a whole list of where you can stream my music, but it's available on all streaming platforms. So if you listen to iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find your music, you can look it up. My Instagram handle is Tess Elena Music. And there you can find where I'm going to be posting my music video as well as many plethora of content and videos around my EP. And on TikTok too, for sure. Trying to get better about posting on TikTok.
Oh, I don't do TikTok, so you don't feel bad.
Okay.
Don't feel bad.
Uh, there's just always something new to be like pushing your stuff on, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find it wherever you stream your music. You will definitely be able to find it. Um, yeah, and I'm excited to share the music video and just keep writing new music and building my career.
And what do you have planned for 2023? Any tours or anything or what?
So, not at the moment have I actually planned. I'm in the midst of scheduling some new shows coming up. I just booked a show with Breaking Sounds, which is like a music promotion um, company in New York City, and I'm doing a show with them on May 18th at Cobra Coffee in New York City. And I'm working with doing like a monthly music gig at one of my restaurants called Poco Restaurant in New York City. And yeah, I'm like in process of figuring out doing like a mini tour, maybe somewhere on the East Coast. So
You gotta come
yeah,
out. You gotta come out to the West Coast now.
I should, right? I would love that.
You
Yeah.
should do a winter tour on the West Coast. Get
That's
out
a
of New
great
York.
idea.
Get out of New York City for this winter and come out here.
Oh yeah. No, I would love that. That would be great. Yeah, no, I definitely want to start playing shows at venues outside of New York and just expand my horizons that way. For sure, that is a goal of 2023. So watch out. That will definitely be happening.
All right, cool, cool. And then one last question. What
Yeah.
can you say to the upcoming musicians that want to be
Ooh,
where you're at right now?
amazing. I would say the best thing to do is just gather a bunch of information. Figure out a community that you can be a part of. Find other people that are trying to do the same thing so you can have allies working and grinding in the same area that you are. And also just like building that community. So going to open mics, going to jams, taking classes in songwriting, honing on your skill, right? Making sure that you practice and making sure that you're creating what you love, right? I think that's like super important to not like worry so much about like how you need to be sounding and making sure that your sound is who you want to be. I feel like that's really important as an artist in today's world, right? So
Right.
that would be my advice.
That's an excellent advice too. And also too, I mean, look, you went didn't go to college for this, but you're doing it without
That's right.
college.
It's true. Yeah. So it just shows that like your path doesn't always have to be exactly what you expect. And you can always start over and you can always try something new and to basically live without any regret and be fearless with your choices. Because you only got one life to live, baby. Fuck it, right?
Fuck it. Hey, the fuck it.
That's it.
Hey,
That's it.
you're gonna say that from now on. You'll be like,
I know.
fuck it,
I
dude.
literally am 100%.
You'll be like, hey guys, we're gonna go on tour, but you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna go to the West Coast. We're gonna go to
Yeah.
Seattle. Fuck it. We're
Yeah.
going to Canada. We're gonna
That's
go.
right. That's right.
You want me to go to
Literally.
Australia? Fuck it. Let's go to
Fuck
Australia.
it. Let's go. 100%. Yeah, totally.
Well,
I
Tess,
love it.
man, it was amazing talking to you.
It
Your
was.
voice, your singing voice is amazing.
Thank you.
Your EP is great. It's definitely out there, and and I'm so happy to sit down and talk to you and
Oh,
learn
yeah.
about your life and everything. And I wish you the
Yeah.
best of luck in
Thank
2023
you.
because you
Yes.
know because you got the great personality that you're going to conquer a lot in this world.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Well, you take care of yourself.
Okay. You too. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.